florists are flipping out, Hallmark is happy, and Godiva is going gaga as the Valentine's Day industrial complex gears up for its Super Bowl on February 14. But is technology competing with Cupid? And is commercialism creeping out the uncoupled? Let's ask Kristen Ruby, CEO of Ruby Media Group, a public relations and social media group in Manhattan, for a great tutorial on media relations. Read rubymediagroup.com. Kris, welcome back.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks so much for having me.
Matchmaking websites have been around since .com, and lots of us have traced our family trees by sending away our spit. Kris, tell us how DNA dating apps work.
Yeah, so DNA matchmaking is really going to be the future of personalized medicine. So what they're doing here is they're taking sites like a 23andMe or Ancestry.com one step further, and instead of doing genetic testing after you're already married or after you're thinking about having kids, what they want to do is basically get rid of any genetic hereditary diseases from people by blocking potential matches that may be problematic for you. So the process works with you sending in your spit or doing a cheek swab. You send that in, they genotype that information, and then they will block potential matches that may have certain recessive traits or genes that would be problematic for potential kids.
So in other words, we're breeding ourselves. Is that what it's come down to?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, right? So this is sort of a highly controversial topic because some people say that you should just sort of let nature play out the way it's supposed to play out, and you should not have access to this information. Whereas I say that people are already getting this genetic testing. Again, whether it's for prenatal reasons or if you are thinking about getting married. I know a lot of people, for example, in certain genetic populations will get tested for Tay-Sachs disease. So people are already doing this.
Sure.
I think these geneticists are saying, why don't you do it before heartache? Why don't you do it way earlier on in the process?
Well, a friend here in Washington was cyber chatting up someone on OurTime.com. When she said she had worked in the Bush administration, he assumed W. When she showed up at the restaurant, it was clear she had worked for George H.W. Humans can use old photos to fib, but DNA doesn't lie, does it?
It does not. And so a lot of people will be getting surprises with these apps. We've seen that where they get surprises with new family members that they didn't expect. But there's also something now where they're going to get surprises. You could be related to a match. I mean, think about that. You could have shared CMs with a match, and that can make you think twice. Do you really want to marry someone that you may be related to? Well, that's why these DNA dating apps, I think, are so critical right now because they aim to prevent that. DNA doesn't lie.
Well,
people do.
People
DNA
who do
doesn't.
these Ancestry things inevitably find out that they are the 16th cousin of Ronald Reagan or Mark Twain or somebody. But they can, as you mentioned earlier, turn up health traits. Tell you if your intended is a distant cousin. Do you feel as though this is a biological compatibility breakthrough, or are we inching toward a less romantic test tube future?
I don't see it as designer babies or a test tube future. I think that this information is the future of personalized medicine, and if used correctly, it can be very helpful for people to know. I don't think it's, I actually think you have way more access to information than just making a choice based on how someone looks in a profile photo when you're swiping left or right. Now you can actually see a number of other factors by these proprietary methods. Are we really going to match? And I'd also say the fact that you can now take something like a 23andMe and look at that list of carrier traits and show that to someone, that's so powerful.
Right.
Wouldn't you rather have that health knowledge now than find it out later on? I certainly would.
Well, who else is seeing it is another question. Fearing Big Brother, RT's resident privacy hawk Lionel warns against doing Ancestry.com or 23andMe. Are you concerned about privacy once you let this data go?
So I think there are great risks and great rewards with this information. And so the people that are concerned with privacy, I understand that debate. However, you have to know there are some people that say, I'm not going to do it. I'm very against it because of privacy reasons. Well, if your brother did it or your sister did it, you're already in the system. That's the unfortunate part of DNA testing that people don't realize. So if any of your family members are doing it, you're already in those databases on all of these sites. Of course, there are concerns with insurance and with medical information being taken. And also, if you give out this information to a company or a dating site, and then that dating app decides to sell that information to another third party, of course, that's a valid concern.
Kristen Ruby, RubyMediaGroup.com. Thanks again for stepping into the big picture.
Thanks for having me.